were seeing like dead bodies on the street. Wow, another one. So we're gonna have a lot of traffic. It was not a place to live, it was a place to survive. I was going to school alone. Opened the door of my house and I pushed it. And I saw this guy, like a drunk guy, sleeping, right? When I came back to home,
How did it feel to grow up in El Salvador with all these gangs living in a difficult neighborhood?
now we got this new version of El Salvador. You start understanding that a lot of things you were seeing normal were completely wrong. You have a family, but you don't have a nice family. So if your home is not your home, you can find a home on the streets. Or maybe you're hungry. You have a single mom, a lot of little brothers, and you have necessity, you can join the gang.
So the gang appears to be a solution to your issues, lack of opportunities.
If you're looking for a friend or if you're looking for money, but the gang can be that way. They were pretty smart though. They were like getting involved with the gang. More like, hey man, what's the plan? Some party tonight, maybe free drinks. Or they were like, hey man, this is completely free for you. New sneakers there. You were like, oh, cool. They are cool, right? But maybe then you receive too much from the gang and then you have to give something back. So you have to do a favor for them. And when you're getting too much, and it's one point you're in.
You also mentioned the story when you wanted to go to school as a child.
Yeah. Imagine that place. If you were not understanding how things were working, you were in problems. By myself to school alone. And finally, I left the home, opened the door of my house, and was like complicated to open. And I saw this guy just next to the door, completely asleep. And I removed the guy with my feet, like, hey man, get out of the way, I need to walk. Hey, drunk guy sleeping, right? Call my mom. And she was like, just go to school, go now. When I came back, my house was with the yellow tape of the police. The guy was dead. Then, how you normalize seeing this? I have talked with local people about how the situation changed, and this girl told to me like, "Hey man, do you remember when we were seeing like dead bodies on the street, and the police crossed the street, and we were like, wow, another one. So we're gonna have a lot of traffic."
Oh, yeah, so you think in a pragmatic way. You just
Yeah, how you don't understand someone is just got killed. Back in the 2015, we're around 25 killings a day. The most dangerous day, we got 87 killings in less than 24 hours. And this was in March 6, 2021.
Which is exactly when things started changing in El Salvador.
Approx. It was a long process, 1.5 years to 2 years, to actually start realizing the safety in all the places of the country. Massive incarcerations, the military operations around the streets, something completely different than we got used to, right? Because the police wasn't something you were trusted back in the day. It was not like they're gonna come and save your life and that's it. So
Was that due to corruption or just to the impossibility of handling the situation because gangs have total control over the territory?
maybe both. Maybe both. Can be, as far as we know, the police is not corrupted, right? But the gangs have more power than them.
Can you tell me more about how gangs were born in El Salvador or how they started appearing?
During and after the Civil War in El Salvador started in 1979, finished in 1992. Many countries were involved. The most influential one was the United States of America. FMLN was a revolution of El Salvador, supported by the Nicaraguan government. Nicaragua being supported by Cuba, and Cuba by the Soviet Union. So communism started in Central America, right? The president, he asked for help, and the first one showing up and saying, of course, I'm helping you, the U.S. First they say, okay, I'm gonna send you $1 million every single day. That's not enough, so they said, okay, give me your Salvadorian soldiers. I can train them here in the U.S., can make them stronger, better, American soldiers, and then I can send them back to El Salvador so they can fight against the revolution. That was the plan, but then Salvadorians, they saw opportunities to get better jobs, better lives, escape of the massive killings of the war. So when they told them like, hey, we're gonna send you to the US, you're gonna be there for a few weeks, but then you're gonna come back to the war to die, they made the plan. Just one day before they were going to come back from the US after being trained, all of them in the middle of the night decided to escape of the military headquarters, move to LA, California. When the US government were trying to send the people back to El Salvador, the soldiers, all these military bases were empty of people. But then, little problem. The life for us Salvadorians is not the best one. We receive a lot of discrimination. All Salvadorians were forced to move to the ghettos, the hoods, the low class and dangerous places of LA back in the day. And there the Salvadorians became part of the gangs, American gangs. We never created nothing, as I like to say, right? So the US government realized the gangs were growing up quickly on the neighborhoods. They decided to take all the gangsters from the streets and send them back to El Salvador. They didn't say, hey, these are criminals, so put them in prison. They escaped, they became gangsters. No, they said, there you go. You're well-trained soldiers, ready for the war. When the Civil War was finished, they realized this free territory because we didn't have gangs. They saw the perfect opportunity to recreate the gangs that they had back in the US. Just two, the MS-13, Mara Salvatrucha, 13, or 18. Two gangs. These got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So they started fighting for territory. And I'm telling you, in a national level, created the war of gangs in El Salvador. El Salvador became the most dangerous country in the world, officially in 2015. That's what we know about how the gangs started in El Salvador.
I was wondering, now that the situation in El Salvador changed, what future do you desire for the country and for the young people who now have very different and better opportunities than people had when you grew up?
Situation now with the government, well, we have more opportunities, but still not the best place. If you have bigger dreams than you, it's going fine. We're going to have some resources. For example, the tourism is going to be something big in a few years. That creates opportunities. Me, for example, I'm a tour guide, and I never expected that. Tour guide. So everything I do was never in my plans, but I love it. 2 years doing my job, and something I really like, never gets boring. Cool people. Now I'm doing this with you, so that's pretty cool. Something I would like to say to everyone is coming to visit El Salvador, go local. It's always gonna find a local way to enjoy the country. It's gonna be more authentic, funnier, cheaper. The food is gonna be better. And it doesn't make any sense all the money your people, your food, your culture, your places are creating if it's not fitting your people. And it's fitting the rich guy owner of the company.
So, Hector, thank you very much for your time and for these really interesting but impacting stories. How did you learn English?
I thought myself from YouTube, no jobs opportunity. So I think a good option can be a call center or whatever is involved with a second language. That was what I wanted. I got focused. I got hired by them, and I needed some money for my university because I was in the middle of the process. And a really nice friend helped me. He did a lot of walking tours. And he was like, man, your personality match a lot with a guy I met in Nicaragua doing a walking tour. I was like, but what's a walking tour, man? After a few beers and long conversation, I like the idea. And we tried. The walking tour worked, got big. One day I just show up and 40 people waiting for the walking tour. Big difference since when I started with one person group, two people group.
Well, thank you very much. Come to El Salvador.
Come to El Salvador. Exactly.